excited. Welcome to Mindfulness Monday, and I'm so excited you are here. Hey, Monique, it's great to see your name on here. This is awesome. So I want to talk today about a mindfulness technique. Don't should yourself. It's a phrase that just sticks with me because of, is that like I don't know what it would be, like a terminology and like English lit, but don't should yourself. Really that simple. Do not should yourself. So a lot of us right now are hearing like, don't do this, do that. Now's the time to get out there. Do you have your side gig yet? Well, get crack-a-lackin'. 10 ways to be visible on social media, business opportunity right here. Keep your kids occupied and off video games. This is the time to let your kids play video games. You might be hearing things like, I've just kind of wrote a bunch of things that I had been hearing. Take this time to get into the best shape of your life. Did I mention you should get on the sourdough starter trend, or you're not doing enough, you're doing too much of this, you're doing too much of that. It's a horrible idea to do this. No, do that. Stop. Take a minute. Don't should yourself. You are exactly where you are right now. You're doing exactly what you need to do for you. Take care of your heart. That's what's so important. That's the biggest way to be mindful, is to take care of your heart at this time. Listen intently. What you need for yourself is going to be different than what I need for myself on any given day, on any given hour, on any given week, on any given minute. What I need is going to be different than what you need. And living in a constant reminder of different things we could or should be doing through social media or whatever it is for you. Take a pause, take a step back, close your eyes, and wonder, is this really for me? Right? Is this what I need to be doing right now? Don't judge yourself for not jumping on the Peloton bike bandwagon. I would love a Peloton bike. Totally love. I'd adore it. It would be wonderful. I don't know where we'd fit it in our house, but I would love it. And I didn't jump up on the bandwagon right away, right? And then I was like, well, I'm going to do the app and I need to start working out. And then you start kind of like beating yourself up for not doing those things or intentions you've set right then. Stop, right? Just stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Sometimes we rush to do things we think we're being told we should do. And what that thing is it just sits there. So in my example with the bike, I get the bike, I do it, it sits there. It just sits there. How many people have gym equipment in their home and it just sits there, right? Like, do things on your time, how you need to do them. Don't should yourself. There's no right or wrong in this. Right now, in this quarantine, in what's going on, we're all in it together. None of us have had, this isn't like, I'm not the only one going through it, right? Like when I got sober at that time, like I felt like I was the only one getting sober. In quarantine, we're all in quarantine. We're all going through this globally. And it's not right. It's not wrong. It's just different. And different's okay. So my quarantine might look different than your quarantine. I might be on top of my A game with writing and work and this and that. Or I might be at the gym well, I'm not at the gym, but maybe I made a home gym for myself and I'm working out every day. I set that intention, but that didn't really start until the past few weeks when I started like walking, when I started doing things. When we set intentions, sometimes it takes a little bit for our brain to catch up for that's what we're going to do and when we're going to do it, and let the natural process flow. So, judgment of self and judgment of others can take us down a spiral of anxiety and depression. It can take us down a spiral of fear of imperfection. It can take us down a spiral that can be debilitating for some, right? We sometimes look at what everyone else is doing around us, and that's what we should be doing because that's what everyone else is doing. Doesn't necessarily work that way, right? And so I want to take you through 3 steps on how to be mindful of your shoulds. Don't should yourself. First, stop. I always think when I write this, like the first thing that goes in my head is stop, collaborate, and listen. Ice is back with the brand new invention, right? Like that's what kind of like calms me down because I'm a child of the 90s and that's what my siblings were listening to when I was growing up. But stop, right? Just stop. And what you do is you start by recognizing the judgments, right? You start by looking for I should, I would, you should, you would, you could, right? We might be saying these to our partners, to our kids, to our roommates, to co-parents, right? Recognize those words and absolutes that you're saying. Always, never language. You always do that. You never do that. Or why can't you be like that, right? So be aware of the finger pointing, whether you're pointing the finger at yourself or you're pointing the finger at somebody else, right? I always heard the if you point your finger at somebody, you've got 3 fingers pointing back at you. So the question I always ask myself when I get frustrated with my wife, she's gonna love that I'm saying this. When I get frustrated with my wife, right, and I'm like, oh, you always do that. I take pause and I say, I actually ask myself, in what ways sometimes do I do that? And how is this mirroring back to me, how I could do better? And then when I adjust, then oftentimes she'll shift or adjust, or the kids will shift and adjust, right? So ask yourself, how can I be doing better, right? And the first step, like I said, is to recognize the judgment. The should, would, coulda, always, never language. And it's not just what's coming out of your mouth. It's not just what's coming out of your mouth. It's also what's going beyond, in between your ears. It's what's going on in your head, what you're telling yourself, that inner dialogue that happens. 2, recognize the reality, right? When you notice what you said, then flip it and ask yourself, am I blaming? Am I being dramatic? I'm always dramatic. Where do I need to change my language? Is my language intentional? Is it bringing me what I want or what I need? And be with that. Just ask yourself, is this what I want in my life? I need another drink. So if you guys have questions, like, post below. I want to know your questions. And then 3, you change the thought or feeling. So you either change the wording, or you kind of erase what you were thinking and you restate it, right? So I should be working out right now, right? Right now I'm doing a live, and tomorrow I will make intentional time for movement, right? And I took that I should be doing this now in saying this, or after a really long and exhausting day, or maybe your body just feels long and exhausted. You're like, oh, I should be cleaning the kitchen. The kitchen will get done, and right now I need rest. Right? The should, would, could, always, never language gets us in trouble, people. It gets us in trouble. And you don't need to should yourself. What you're doing right now, where you are right now, is probably exactly what you need. And if it's not, change. Take action, right? But don't judge yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. These are not times to be hard on yourself or others. These are times to act in love and acceptance and growth and to speak your truth. Seriously. So let me go back through these 3 steps. 1, recognize the judgment. The should, woulda, coulda, always, never language. 2, recognize the reality. Am I blaming? Am I being dramatic? Where do I need to change my language? And then 3, take the action and change the thought or the feeling, right? Take the next step. I encourage each one of you today to start making those shifts. Let's not shut ourselves. Seriously.